Hello, everybody. Good morning. This is Grace Bubeck, and it's the fourth meditation and sharing session of the Healing and Awakening Retreat. Yes, it's been quite the experience so far. And from where I'm sitting, I'm looking out into a forest with snow. We have 2 inches of snow this morning, and it's still snowing. So I was looking at this morning, and I thought, there was this blessing by Mother Mira on Friday morning for the retreat, and I thought, well, this morning it's a blessing by Mother Nature. It's snow is a very silent blessing, and it's interesting that snow always takes us into that silence. And I'm blessed with lots of snow up here in the mountains north of Montreal. So that's definitely something that's invited me into a silent space. Our environments can be very conducive to finding that stillness inside. And snow is definitely very conducive. I have to tell you, I'm not very high tech in my own private life, so I don't even have like a digital camera or an intelligent phone. So I can't even I would have loved to take a photo of this snowy landscape, but I can't do it. So I'm sorry about that, but you'll just have to imagine it. And actually, if you go to my website, gracebubeck.com, you will find a little video on there, and you'll see a very snowy landscape on that video. So maybe that'll give you an idea, but it's not snow falling. It's just a very snowy landscape. So that's a bit of a, personal note this morning. I just wanted to tell you that I've just been so very touched by your gratitude and your comments, and some of you have sent me emails. I've also received a small number of donations already, which I'm very grateful for. Making this retreat happen has been almost a full-time job over the last 2 months, and it's been a labor of love for me, so I love doing it. And at the same time, it's taken me away from a lot of other things. So, it's if you do enjoy the retreat and you've benefited from it, I definitely be grateful for your donation, whatever the amount is. And I realize on the Healing and Awakening website, on the donation page, I'd kind of put a bit playfully, the 1-star, 3-star, 5-star option of donating. Really, whatever you feel you want to donate is welcome. It's up to you to determine the amount. So I just wanted to say that with all the other preparations, I didn't get round to changing the donation page, and I realize it's still up as I put it a long time ago, and I had actually I wanted to go back to it and change it maybe to something different, but here it is, and I'm going to leave it as it is. And if you feel called to make a donation, I'll very happily receive it. Thank you. And I also so gratefully receive your feedback um, you know, it's really a give and take. And when we're giving something out, it's so beautiful to receive a recognition and a response to that. And it's like it completes the circle of that giving. You know, the receiving is part of the giving. And as you send your feedback, your gratitude, your comments, that touches me deeply. And actually, it kind of fuels the circle in a way. You know, it makes me even happier to give and to do this and to continue, and to go into this last day. So I just wanted to let you know this, that it's such a, I'm just deeply touched, deeply touched. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for appreciating this offering. And thank you for participating with your hearts, your being, your, yeah, however you're there. So thank you for that. And you know, in some ways it's scary to step out into this cyberspace and offer something like this. And I'm actually not a very public person. I'm a very private person. And um, and yet there was this calling to do this. And I did. And so it's just confirming for me to receive your response, because it tells me that I've done this for a good reason. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just so deeply touched. There's such beauty in our reaching out and connecting and finding that the connection happens. That's deeply healing. It's deeply healing personally for me also. And as I think John expressed also, I can't remember, maybe Gina too, there's something deeply healing. Actually, the deepest healing is in connecting, knowing that there is no separation, really, truly. But actually, at a human level, experiencing that there is connection is always deeply healing. So, this is what you're giving me. This is how you're contributing to my healing. So, thank you for that. Thank you. I wasn't planning on going into this, but here you go. It came out. Um, what I wanted to share with you this morning before we meditate is the kinds of reflections I've had for a long time about healing, what healing is. Um, so about 1.5 years ago, I had another vision, which was of interacting with people in a healing way. And the healing came out of just an all-encompassing love that was there, and it was wanting to express itself that way. And so the form that took was a research project that I did, because it just felt a bit way out for me to be doing this, and I didn't know how it could be done. And so I just put the news out to people that there was this new healing modality that had come to me, and that I wanted to do a research project on it. And so I did. I called it Heart of Love Healing. And I basically just did a lot of what I was already doing, counseling and energy work. But what was new was that it wasn't me who was doing it. It was, how do I explain that? It was me really allowing myself to let go into this love, and allowing the love to do whatever it was going to do. So there was a shift of focus from me to not me. That was quite significant, and that really shifted the way that I was doing things. And so this research project allowed me to actually be experimenting with this. And I was very open with people. I told them, this is a vision that I've had. I've not practiced this. It'll just be what it'll be. And I was finding a way of doing this as I was going along. And the results were very good, and you can read, if you're interested in that, there is a website. I seem to have a knack for creating websites. So there's a website that's called heartoflovehealing.net. You also find the link to that website on my gracebubeck.com website. And on that website, you will find, the report from the research project, and, feedback that I got from people. And the upshot of this research project was really that I reflected a lot on what healing was, and where it came from, and what is it that's healing? What is it that's healing? And the vision that I'd had was that it was love that was healing. And not emotional love, obviously. Love that is beyond the personal, love that just is. And for some reason, that love just kept being there, here, in this person. And it had kind of manifested that way as part of my own healing journey with cancer. The result of that healing, or the one of the challenges of that healing journey, was to not to not be swayed by fear. And somehow the only other mode of being that I found, other than fear, was love. And so as I was dealing with intense fear, intense anxiety for a while, night after night, it was better during the day, but it was definitely very intense at night. And as I was lying there in bed, shaking with fear, somehow there was love that grew out of that. Because as I could see myself in that panic and in that fear, the seeing happened from a place of love. And so the meeting of the fear paradoxically was a way of meeting love. And so the love somehow wanted to find a way of expressing itself, of being more in what I was doing professionally. And this is how the Heart of Love healing came to be. And so here's what I understand about healing. Healing is about finding wholeness. Healing is about becoming all that we can be. It's about finding ways of resolving contraction, resolving blocks in energy, resolving anything that creates contraction, that creates limits and boundaries. Because really our true nature is unlimited. And somehow the human experience seems to create limits and contractions and boundaries and malfunction, if you want to call it that way, dysfunction. And so I found that by just immersing myself, allowing the small self to somehow come back home into that love, that there was a space in which those I was working with could also expand, could come out of their contraction, could relax deeply. And in that deep relaxation, whatever it was that was stressful for them, painful, difficult, could somehow ease and relax and give way to more space, more love. And most of the people I worked with, we worked at an emotional, mental, spiritual level. I had only one person who had come with a physical issue, and I have to be very honest with you, that didn't seem to produce many results, although she always felt very good after. So I'm not going to, I'm very aware that at a physical level things didn't seem to work so well. But then I only had one person who was coming to me with a physical issue. So this healing, and this is for me where healing meets awakening. When we awaken, when we have moments of waking out of this smallness, waking up out of the smallness that we know, that we think we are. And I think it's really important to realize, that would be my suggestion, that awakening is not a big thing. It's not this huge experience. And for some it is, and for others it's just smaller experiences of waking up, of letting go of smallness, letting go of constriction, of limitation, of contraction, and having glimpses of the spaciousness, the stillness, having glimpses of the unlimited potential. So where awakening meets healing, where healing meets awakening, is in that place where let me take a moment to just reflect on that. Where healing meets awakening is in that what that comes is immersion into that limitless love. You could say the ocean of love. And that immersion allows us to truly rest, to be at home. That is our home. Our home is that love, and in that love, everything can heal. And some beings have the ability to transmit healing, to be conduits for healing, also in a very physical way. I'm thinking of John of God, for example, or traditionally many saints. That love manifests as it will through people, through beings. Jesus, beautiful example of love manifesting so powerfully at all levels, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. So healing for me is a very powerful experience and presence and possibility. And my hope is that in this retreat, you will have experienced, maybe gotten a taste of healing for yourself, of coming home, a taste of what it can be like to really drop the seeking for something, the small, contracted self that's seeking, and just open to the spacious, vast ocean of being that's always there, and that we all are. And to find peace in that. And in that peace, so much that's painful just falls away, or just comes to have a different place. And that can be a way that things heal. It's not spectacular. It's very simple. And maybe I'll just add one thing about chronic illness, because chronic illness can be very tough to deal with. And my own experience with people, with working with people with chronic illness, is that there's this, that of course they want to be well, they want to get well. And there can be a very desperate search for healing. And paradoxically, often people stop actually feeling better when they accept that they may never get totally well. That this may just be it, this may be what they're living with. Like truly accepting, just really letting go of any resistance to it, however subtle. And resistance can get very subtle. You think you let go of your resistance and it's still there, but a bit more subtle. So illness or difficulty, personal problems, emotional stuff can be huge teachers. And when you allow the teaching, everything takes you home. Everything takes you into that relaxation of being, into stillness. So I'm just going to take a moment. My computer's throwing something at me. Not sure what. Oh, it's disappeared. Okay. So I suggest we sit with all of this for about 10 minutes, and then I'll open the floor for your participation, questions, and we'll take it from there. So I'll hope that the computer won't cut the connection. If it does, I'll be back on a new Hangout and I'll be posting the link. And let yourself close your eyes and see whether you can just allow whatever trying, whatever efforting, whatever searching for something may be there. See whether you can let that go, even just for a moment. And breathe and relax. And let yourself fall. It can feel like a free fall. And it is a free fall. Let yourself open into that spacious peace. That spacious stillness. That spacious love that you are. So, slowly coming out of your inner space back into a shared human space. And for those of you who saw me disappear from the picture, I managed just in time to see the warning that I needed to plug the computer into an electric outlet. I'd forgotten to do that. It was running on battery. So I had to get up and do that. And so here I am back. So I'm going to just have a look. So Anneke says, good morning, Grace. Snow, great. Thank you again for hosting. I think you're courageous with all the technique and it works. Love you. Love you too, Anneke. And yes, it works. It's amazing. Although I seem to have problem with the audio recordings, I just realized that it hasn't been recording again. So there you go. Maybe the audio is just not meant to be. Wendy says, yes, she's been courageous to do all of this. I can attest to that as I followed her journey closely. Yes, thank you, Wendy, and thank you for posting these comments in a readable format for me. Corbeau Jaune, obviously a Québécois or French or Belgian friend. Merci Grace et tous les participants. Oui, il neige et c'est magnifique. So I'll translate that for you, for the English people. It says, thank you Grace and to all the participants. And yes, it's snowing and it's magnificent. Waking Dream. That's wonderful. Thank you for your honesty, Grace. And Martin says, you know, it works so well. It feels so totally natural to be connected that it's easy to bypass the courage behind it. Bravo, brava à chacune, chacun. Bravo to all of you. Corbeau Jaune says, je demeure à quelques 20 kilomètres de Grace. Toute beauté, la neige et les propos de Grace. So, Corbeau Jaune, which means the yellow raven, I believe, says that she or he lives at about 20 kilometers from where I live. All beauty, the snow and my words, Grace's words. And Martin says, what you express, Grace, is so precious. For me, it is healing at a distance effect. Thank you, Martin. Thank you. And in fact, some of the healing sessions that I was doing in the research project were actually on the phone. They were distant healing, and really, distance is of no importance at that level. And Maureen says, thank you, Grace, for helping lead me home. Oh, thank you, Maureen. Maureen's a dear friend at Montreal also. Matthew Irvin, thanks, Dr. Bubeck. Yeah. So I'm wondering, does anybody want to come on to a hangout? Come on to the hangout. There doesn't seem to be any questions. I'm just going to check whether anybody's raised their hands. Okay, Wendy's just telling me there's a question from Anouk, so let me look at this. Yes, do we hold on to pain because we are afraid? It's an interesting question, Anouk. Let me be with that for a moment. You know, for sure, we hold on to the small self, to who we think we are, because it's what we know. And even though it's painful, it's what we know. So it is very scary to let that go. And that's why a lot of spiritual teachers talk about having to be willing to die. Like, you know, Unmani put that very fiercely last night. And it can have a very fierce expression like that. And sometimes it gets to that point where really you are at a point where it is a question of, well, you know, I mean, I'm at such a point where I don't want to continue like this anymore. I'd rather die than continue like this. And there's a few well-known public figures, teachers, who definitely got to that point, like Eckhart Tolle, for example. And like Unmani said yesterday, that's where she was at. Because it's like the small self, which is that which experiences the pain, the human self. The small self is held together by fear. It's like it's too much of a risk to go beyond what we know and what we're used to. And because we're afraid of that, we don't do it. So let me just take a moment and mute Wendy's phone. Okay, that's done. So the small self even though it's in some form of pain, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, whether it's spiritual, the pain of searching for meaning is incredibly painful. Pain of searching for home is painful. So even though that experience is so painful, it's what we know. It's what we know. And, in some ways we even thrive on that drama. Like I remember, I was in psychotherapy for 9 years, and it was like the psychological drama. I had a lot of pain that was there in my life, emotional pain, and I spent years in psychotherapy just crying. I had no idea what this was all about, and in some ways it felt like I'd kind of been born into pain. That's what it felt like. And yet that felt alive, the drama of the pain. It's like that's what made me come alive, because other than that, I was numb. I was not feeling very much. So feeling the pain and feeling the anger, or the despair, or the depression even felt like it was more alive than the numbness. And so I had an attachment to that. And it was when I had my first meeting with my teacher, Gangaji, that she pointed that out to me, that there was an attachment to the drama, and therefore an attachment to the pain. So whatever it is that attaches you to the pain can be an interesting question to ask yourself. Well, what would it be like? Suppose that I wasn't in pain. Suppose that weren't part of my life. You think you actually want that. But if you imagine it, it might be that your life could maybe feel very empty without it. That somehow something that you're so used to would be missing. And so there is an attachment to it, you see? So when you inquire into that, what's my attachment to pain? Why am I holding on to pain? Why am I holding on to my pain? Sometimes the pain that's there in your life is just part of your identity. It's part of who you are. It's like, I've been depressed all my life. That's just me. Can be very useful for those of you who have that question. Why am I holding on to my pain? To do an exercise that just consists of asking yourself that question as a repeating question. Like, you sit down, you take a piece of paper, and you write down that question. Why am I holding on to my pain? And you close your eyes, and you don't think, you just allow that inner space to give you an answer. And whatever comes, you write it down. And then you ask yourself the question again, why am I holding on to my pain? Close your eyes. You allow the answer to come out of your being, not out of your head. You know when it's the head because you're thinking, right? So thinking's not going to give you the answer. You're really asking your being. And you keep asking that question and you will get an answer. And part of it for sure will be fear of living without it, fear of letting that go that has been what you thought was part of you for so long. But there may be other aspects to it too. So you could try that, see what happens. So I'm just going to see whether there are any other comments or questions. So Anouk says, thank you. Maureen says, that is why surrender is so difficult. The unknown looms so large. Yes. Yes, and we're afraid of the unknown. You know, that's part of the human kind of setup, that whatever is unknown, whatever we don't know, we're afraid of. And whatever we know, even though it may be painful, is what we know. So it seems to cause less fear. So Anneke says, I saw that too, as if I was part of existence by feeling, as if I was more alive even through pain. And Wendy says, I learned so much from chronic back pain for 20 years. Finally, I learned to treat it as a genuine message from the body and unconscious that was trying to help me, not hinder me. Yes, when there is pain in your life, thanks for adding that, Wendy. It can be interesting also to ask yourself another repeating question, which is, how is this pain helping me? What does that pain give me? And actually that can be, maybe that could be an even more interesting question. Because when you see what that pain gives you, you see what your attachment to it is. And Connie says, even pain can become a part of our identity. And Wendy comments on this. Absolutely, we come to think of it as mine and me. And Anneke says the same with seeking and spirituality, loving the expansion and resonance as a relief from contraction. Mind says it is dull and boring without it, nothing to do. Smile. Yes, absolutely. Drama is very interesting. It's extremely interesting, you know. It's very entertaining. I certainly was very entertained by mine. It was a full-time occupation. Waking dream. So true, Wendy. It took persistent injuries for me to hear the message from my body that I need to question my beliefs about how my body should look. The body is so wise. Yeah. Yeah. So, it looks as if nobody has any question. Nobody wants to come on to the call. So maybe we'll leave it there. Wendy, do you see anything that I'm missing? Yeah. Okay. Well, then we'll leave it there for today. For this session anyway. And we'll get back to you in an hour's time. This time with a conversation with Marlies. Marlies is also a psychotherapist and spiritual teacher who was asked to teach by Adyashanti. She's in the Adyashanti line. And then the following session is with Padma Wolf, who is a German a spiritual teacher and psychotherapist of German origin, who was with Papaji for a while, and who also translates for Gangaji and Eli Jackson Bear when they are in Germany. So she has a very rich experience of that teaching line, which is the Ramana Maharshi Papaji line that she comes out of. And the third person today will be Nirmala, who's the husband of Gina Lake and writes beautiful poetry. And so join me for those sessions. If you've dropped into the session by chance and you're wondering what this is all about, this is the Healing and Awakening retreat, online retreat. It's a free retreat, so if you're interested in joining, you can go to the website www.healingandawakening.com. And if you register, you will receive in the email that asks you to confirm your registration, you will receive the links for today, for the page with today's sessions and the access links to those sessions. So thank you to all of you who were here this morning and who were commenting and asking questions and participating in spirit. And I'll see you in a bit. Until then, bye.